Auf Nukleinsäuren beruhende Lebensform ist am Ende die einzige, die sich durchsetzen kann. Wer hat Schienen von Hamburg bis München gelegt? Kopfschmerz mit Aspirin weggefegt. Fährt Auto mit Navigationssystem. Hat die Welt viereckig angelegt. Natürlich, der Mensch, der hat die praktischen Taschen der Welt gemacht. Tunnel in Berge reingehakt. Wer lügt nie und wird doch oft erwischt. Mit Lügnerröte im Gesicht. Der Mensch, der Mensch, der Mensch.
So where is everybody? Is it just the few of us tonight? I suppose so, because it is 2010, although it's 2020, but it's also 2010, 8:10. In Germany, my little bar tells me 20 p.m., not 8 p.m. So that's why it's 2010. And we're welcoming Henning Sedlmeir with a very Bavarian last name, which I always find peculiar because he was born in Saarbrücken in Western Germany. Of course, I have his CDs, which I totally love, and I take them to the US and I listen to them there. And I met him in a tiny bar in Bayreuth, actually. We had a few beers together, and then he started rocking and doing what he does best. Just really, he does this thing between punk rock, trash, electronic. He performs his absurd realist philosophical thoughts about German social and political humanist themes combined with visuals. So in a way, he's in line with Kraftwerk, as you will see, or another German band, Trio, and inspired in the Ramones as well. One magazine has called his work "The Everyday Romanticism Behind a Space Pop Facade." And another one has called him the only man who Elvis could have learned something from. So
that's my favorite.
Yeah, I bet so. So I would say, Henning, unless you want to say something before we start, I would just play a video so people know what we've been talking about. And talk then?
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right. So
we'll talk later.
Okay. So let's start going.
Melodien sind sein Leben. Versuch, Gewebeschnitte. In Spezialinstituten wurde sein Gehirn in dünne Scheiben zerlegt und unter Mikroskopen untersucht. Dadurch haben wir sein Gehirn sehr genau kennengelernt. Sein Großhirn allein weist ca. 14 Millionen Nervenzellen auf, deren Leitungsfasern eine Länge von 500.000 Kilometern ausmachen. Bei der Untersuchung haben wir festgestellt, dass in ihnen die Töne und Melodien aller Länder der letzten 50 Jahre gespeichert sind. Wir befanden, Melodien sind sein Leben. sein Herz ein Hohlmuskel. In einer rhythmischen Folge von Zusammenziehen, Systole und Erschlaffen, Diastole, pumpt sein Herz Blut. In der Systole treibt sein Herz Blut aus, in der Diastole füllt es sich wieder. Dies geschieht bei ihm mit einer einzigartigen rhythmischen Präzision. Das Prüfen seiner Herzfrequenz hat ein unglaubliches Resultat zutage gebracht. Sein Puls passt sich exakt der Geschwindigkeit des jeweils zu hörenden Schlagers an. Kein Wunder. Melodien sind sein Leben. Zu der Erkenntnis, Melodien sind sein Leben.
You will not believe, Henning, something like this exactly they were saying on the news today. There is some kind of corona study, actually on Bavarian news, I suppose that was. And the Erlangen University and the Munich University did a study with the Munich Philharmonics. They studied the aerosols in the orchestra. And exactly like this, they started saying, the flute that's sort of going to the side, okay? The flute, anyway. Oh. That flute that you play to the side has the aerosols to the side, and the clarinet has it to the front. And so we, the scientists, noticed that the musicians need more space to the front, and stuff like that. I mean, in the end, it said we established that they have to ventilate, meaning they have to open the windows. This is exactly what this video clip is about, right? About these.
In this case, melodies could be their death.
Yeah, not their life, but their death. That's true. Unbelievable. But the academic stupidity that we've probably all have gone through, and not just academic, but scientific sometimes, unfortunately, in general.
Senioren gegen Faschismus kennen das Problem, den scheiß Kapitalismus und die FDP. Der Krieg ist längst verloren, die Arbeit für den Arsch. Senioren gegen Faschismus blasen euch den Marsch. Senioren gegen Faschismus, Weise gegen Massenmechanismus, ein schlauer Gegenpol. Gehst du jetzt bei den Braunen, ist dir nicht ganz wohl, dann soll dir deine Oma noch heute den Arsch versohlen. Senioren aller Länder, holt die Stinkefinger raus. Kein Bock mehr auf den Dreck, das braune Haar muss weg. Wir pfeifen auf die Rente und intonieren im Stehen, im Zeichen der Hygiene. Senioren gegen Faschismus lösen das Problem.
Okay. And last
It was
but
great.
yeah,
Thank you.
I love that.
it's so hard to translate this poetry in it. But anyway, one more.
Und nun kommt auch schon das nächste Stück Scheiße angeflogen.
Next piece of shit is flying. Is flying in.
Sag mal, Fremder, steht mir das Hemd? Nein. Stimmt's, dass du immerzu an mich denkst? Nein. Findest du, ich bin ein Supertalent? Oder wenigstens ein wunderbarer Mensch? Sind Blumen für mich das richtige Geschenk? Ist es wahr, dass man sich nach mir die Finger leckt? Nein. Sehe ich unbekleidet eigentlich fabelhaft aus? Nein. Bin ich den Anforderungen des Showgeschäfts gewachsen? Würdest du mich auf jeden Fall weiterempfehlen?
And there is another one, Henning, which I really, really hope we should also translate, and that's Der Mensch.
Der Mensch, ja.
Mensch is a person, no?
It's like the human.
In Yiddish, we say you're a mensch if you're a good person.
But in German, it just means person, but more like human. The human, almost like the animal, and that's what the song is about.
Yeah.
Like how out of the primary soup, this thing survived. Like everybody else died, but this thing made it out and became the mensch, became the human. And now what he's made out of it, of his life and all that. It's also wonderful. But let's talk about the ones we heard.
I love the Seniors Against Fascism. I think my mother would like that. She's definitely against fascism.
Yeah, oh yeah,
Ooh.
well, obviously.
Yeah.
So these contrapositions and juxtapositions that Henning works with, a lot of them are universal. Some of them are more for the German society with the political background and so on. But a lot of them are, also universal. So
I know this book, Die vergessene Generation. Kennen Sie dieses Buch? Do you know this book? This is about those seniors. These are those seniors you're talking about.
Ah, okay.
The people my mother's age. Die Autorin ist Sabine Bode.
Ja.
Ein sehr gutes Buch. I love this book. It's only in German, I think.
Die vergessene Generation heißt das?
Die Kriegskinder brechen ihr Schweigen. My mother will not break her silence, but these do. Die vergessene Generation was written by a woman. Sabine Bode is an author from Cologne. And this book talks about the after effects and a lot of what those videos I think are referring back to this long history of silence and of accepting things and not talking about the past. So this is an excellent book. I wish it was translated into English, but if you read German, I would highly recommend it.
Still lots of after effects.
Recommendation.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we should translate it, Erica.
Hey, we could get started now. Finish in a few years.
No kidding.
I think it would have
also. Sorry.
Sorry. Go ahead.
There's also people from Vienna, and they now overtook in Germany a group that's called Omas gegen Rechts, so grandmas against rights.
Wow.
Against the right.
Also, only old women go to demonstrate against the fascists, and this is great.
Yeah,
I love it.
Wonderful. The energy of older women is a well-known force for good.
Well, that first of all, from the earth, the mothers of the earth, but also in this case as Zeitzeugen, as the ones who really lived it or almost lived it or grew up in the aftermath of the war. So it's more convincing.
Yeah.
That's a great word. I love that word, Zeitzeuge.
Ja.
Die vergessene Generation heißt das, gell?
Yeah.
Yeah, Sabine Bode. In Germany, people are pretty aware of their history, especially the Second World War history, because it's really being, slammed into our brains in school over and over and over again, maybe a little too much, even at a too early age. But today I just saw a news report from Czech Republic, who are like 30 years after the wall came down. They don't know who Václav Havel is, the president then. They don't know when the Velvet Revolution was. And when I say they, then of course it's some of them that I asked on the street, but it's actually quite a few. And they don't remember anything. They don't know anything, which shows how important education and this school education is.
Yeah. They sound like Americans. We don't remember our history either. In fact, we actively remove ourselves from our history so that we can reinvent ourselves every generation, which is, of course,
especially the bad stuff,
terribly destructive.
Like Native American history and, even Jim Crow and things like that, I don't remember being taught the bad stuff. I mean, if you read Howard Zinn, you'll, see what really happened.
It's difficult, I have two opinions about that, but because on the one hand, I have the experience that, of course, it's easy for me to say because I have been educated with the knowledge of history in many ways, many kind of histories. But I've also seen that when you don't know, you don't have this baggage, and you really can go forward much, much easier. So where is the line, how to play it so that it's not too tough, not traumatizing us on the children as it was on me personally, definitely. What they showed us in school, you can imagine, I don't have to tell you, of the Second World War when we were 10 years old, was really a little bit overdone. But yeah, so there is a fine line. And I mean, it's so individual that, hey, how do you know, right?
I think you have a really good point, Gabriella, about the appropriate time and place and the appropriate amount of this history that children should be subjected to. And I think it's really important to understand that kids that are still in the middle of their childhood, before adolescence, take everything extremely personally. And so they feel somehow responsible, for World War II. It's their fault. Somehow they made this happen. Because I remember being 13 when my parents broke up, I thought it was my fault that they got a divorce. And it just, you're just that way. So I think I don't know how history is taught in German schools, but there has to be a great deal of sensitivity, I think. And there has to be they need to know, they have to know. The point of teaching history is so that we can learn from it and hopefully not repeat these mistakes that we see repeated over and over in America. But you don't want to frighten children and traumatize them again. And I truly believe that we are already traumatized when we're born. We are the trauma lives through our bodies and through our grandmothers and our mothers, and we're already getting it, right? It's in the amniotic fluid. So I think it should be an opportunity for healing somehow. You know, we can open up these boxes very slowly. I mean, I learned about my own family's history in Germany bit by bit. My mother did not want to talk about what happened to her as a child, and I'm still trying to get stories out of her. But I think in a way she was right. She kept back the worst things that happened. I had to find out from other sources, but I'm glad that I was old enough to understand that I could develop some kind of a distance from those shocking and terrible facts. The first time I went to Berlin, I was amazed at how the history was everywhere, how it was just, it was in the food and in the water and in the dirt, and it was just, it was really palpable. Not like in America, not at all. It's very different.
A bit too much. But anyway, this is not the only subject.
I love the energy in your work. I just, and I love that you're able to take that high energy and pair it with really important subjects. It just works. It's some of it. I wanted to start dancing, and the subject is so serious that dichotomy is just how you able to contain that is marvelous. And my question for you is, I just loved it. What projects are you working on now, or how do you know when you're going to work on a new project?
I work always on a new project, and the new project in my case is always the next album. And so I start to collect ideas and then write it down, fix it somewhere, and start working when it's time or when I feel good. Or actually, I have 2 kids. I got the time. I bring them to school, and then I have time from 9 to 2 p.m. where I can work. But now I'm a bit lazy. But you know, as an artist, everything thinking is also working. So that's it.
Yeah.
So
part of the process.
You said you just recorded a new music video.
Yeah.
What was just because it's been the ones we heard are from about a year ago, and now with all the corona and all these things that are going on, probably a lot of people are wondering, like, what would, you know, what's going through your mind now, or what is that new video?
The new video is just about that. It's called Die Neuen Alten, the new old. That's what I have a new record label, and I was talking to the chief of to the boss of my record label, and I asked him, and how old are you? And he said, no, I'm 50. And I said, okay, I'm 50 since 3 years. Okay. And then that was the first sentence in the song. Scheiße, ich bin 50, Baby. So fängt es an, und es geht darum, dass wir, also meine Generation, die neuen Alten sind. Also wir sind nicht die Alten, wir sind auch nicht mehr die Jungen, wir sind die neuen Alten. We are the new old.
Our generation is not the old, not the young, we're the new olds.
Yeah.
So do you have some thoughts about the videos that we saw? Like, I already talked a little bit about the Melodien sind sein Leben, melodies are his life, sort of the contraposition between the artist and the academic or the scientists, how these two worldviews clash together, and how, of course, the scientist thinks he's so much smarter. He has to analyze everything, and of course, he's always right.
Well, it's hard to explain what I thought, even though it's 5 years ago. So I just wanted to picture these kind of guys who are standing there with a stick and a diagram. Diagram, is that right?
Yeah, you could say, yeah, sure, with the diagram behind them. Mm-hmm.
I found that has a little a certain aesthetic of the science aesthetic, which made it look like this must be true. what the guy says must be true because of these diagrams and because he's serious. He looks serious and he's got a certain, was ist der Name für Beweis nochmal?
Proof.
Proof, yeah.
Yeah,
Proof.
and also he uses these words that that are terminus technicus, not everybody understands, and then on top of it, he has the arrogance to explain them. Yeah, he explains the word that he just used, which is of course something very typical in academia, which we have to do all the time, and it's such a game in a way. It's such a stupid game that you have to follow these lines. That's what I deal with. So. So always when I've had enough, then I go back to your video.
Yeah, it's also a bit like Nazi-like too, the style. Yeah. It's like I tell you this and these facts and this, so we come to the conclusion, which is completely bullshit. Yeah.
Exactly.
So you can tell everything with these methods.
It's also the group. You have a group that of scientists, so it makes it even more true, supposedly, and nobody speaks up. Yeah, and nobody speaks up. Nobody says the contrary. Yeah.
Is there more music we can hear?
Against coronavirus.
Excuse me, Cindy?
I think we interrupted. I think my sound is off.
No, we hear you. I can hear you.
You can?
I can hear you.
Okay. I think Henning should do Seniors Against Coronavirus.
I'm sure he will. I cannot imagine that the coronavirus will bypass him. Yeah.
Maybe with the right diagrams.
Is there more music we can hear?
You can look up his website.
No, I mean, okay, is there something you could play now?
No, not right now. We're here for now to talk also because we played 3 videos, which is what we translated. There was quite a bit of work behind it when the English translation, and so these are the 3 that we showed now. But then later, afterwards, of course, you can go to his website and and hear, or I don't know, do you sell your CD to the US? Of course.
Not me, but my label does, and my distributor.
Right, you
can order it in Germany, or you can also listen on your computer or watch videos.
Or even better, why don't you all come over to Germany and we go to a concert?
To a Corona show.
And I am dying to get out of here. I would love to come to Germany.
Yeah.
Believe me. My last trip was in 2015, and I haven't been to Europe since then, and it's just killing me. So I miss my family, but traveling right now is out of the question.
Yeah.
Until we have a vaccine or a dramatic drop in cases.
Well, we traveled in July, and believe me, we looked like the guy in Henning's video, the Sedlmeir question mark, the one that says no, that answers no all the time with the glasses and all that. That's what I looked like when I traveled. I had the goggles and everything, the mask, the goggles, and
oh yeah. Yeah.
I love that video as well, Henning, because especially like comparing it with people who always say yes to themselves and put themselves on the pedestal, and this whole advertising society, especially in the US in this case, where you constantly have to show how great you are, and you can never have like, hey, I'm not so great, or so here you're playing with your alter ego.
Yeah.
It's just the coolest thing.
No is a good word to sing.
I like that you also use the word seniors, because in America we are not allowed to get old. Have you noticed that? So when you say seniors and you specifically say people of a certain group, you're just reminding the world that yes, we do get older, and it's okay. It's actually a good thing. You get wiser. You
Erica, in
Definitely.
Germany, you're not even allowed to go to dance after, I would say, 25 years old. Then they start having these like disco for 30 years old, and then disco for 40, and then that's it. That's it. Like after 40, you're dead. You know, go below ground.
Oh, I thought it was better in Germany. Oh, I'm so sad. Oh, wow.
No, but not in Berlin. In Berlin, you can go out until you die.
Until you die. Good, I love Berlin.
This is what I love about the city.
And Berlin has you have no curfew, right? You can go to a bar until 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning. Yeah.
Till the
Just
sun
don't drive
goes
when
up.
you're drunk. You will lose your license. But
Well, actually, you start going out in Germany when the others start their curfew. You don't go out before midnight, 1 o'clock, a lot of times.
Yeah, that's what we did many years.
Yes. Yeah.
So you can't remove to Germany if you miss it so much?
I will come when it's safe. I'll come and visit when it's safe to come, but it's not safe right now to travel, unfortunately. Not with the coronavirus.
Yeah.
Cases are going up every minute here in the US. So
well, here too. It's gotten really bad in Germany also.
Yeah.
So the whole summer was great. We even traveled and went to restaurants, but then people overdid it. And you know, sort of we thought, we're so smart, but or people here are so smart, but then it became the same, and people started to demonstrate against the masks and all that. So you tell me.
Yeah.
Der Mensch.
Der Mensch. I haven't been to a restaurant since March 1st.
Oh, really?
I really miss it. Yeah, I really do.
I was going to ask Henning if he's famous in Germany, if he's well known in Germany. If not, he should be.
No, I'm not.
Because you're very. No, but
No.
you're good. I love that
Thank
kind
you.
of stuff.
I'm just a little bit famous for certain people, for hand-picked people.
Yeah, it's like when you write an intellectual book, then you have certain followers, right? But and especially in music, I guess you reach a different kind. I mean, when you listen to the German music, which when I was growing up, there was no German music. Besides the one wave in the 80s, there were a few bands that had like a completely monotonous, sort of like Kraftwerk, but a monotonous lines in it.
But there's a lot of good stuff in Germany
That's
too.
why we like it. That's why we like it.
Yeah. So what's the good stuff?
Because we like that kind of stuff. There was a group called Berlin. Remember that?
Berlin?
The group Berlin.
Yeah, I know. Take My Breath Away. That's.
Yes.
Yeah.
And a lot of other good songs. That was the famous one, but she had.
Yeah, but they were English.
Yeah, they were American.
American.
They were American.
They were not German.
That's the thing.
They stole the name, made them famous.
Yeah.
Use the name of a very famous
city. No more words.
They had a lot of fake bands here. They had a lot of fake bands here that were something different than they really were. Yeah, and then they came Milli Vanilli. They were the other way around, right?
Yeah.
They actually were German.
Yeah,
but never sang.
I mean, for Americans, bands you could know is like something like the Einstürzende Neubauten. They're also very long in the business. And Rammstein and the Scorpions. These are, I guess, these are the three acts you know in America. But there's so much good music, and good songwriters, good texts, which never gets to the surface somehow.
Who was the singer that did Major Tom? That it was in the 80s. Who was that guy?
Bowie.
Peter Schilling? I'm trying to
Major Tom, yeah.
Major Tom. I love that song.
Yeah.
Especially like
David Bowie.
No.
Yeah.
Ground Control to Major Tom.
Yeah,
but that wasn't the name of the song.
No, that's a different
That
song.
wasn't the name.
That was
Space Oddity, I believe.
That was
Space Oddity.
Oddity. Space Oddity. Yeah, this band did sort of an answer to David Bowie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a great song.
Yeah, Nena, she did the 99 Luftballon. I love that song too. You can tell.
I love that.
Right?
Nena, that was Nena.
Yeah, Nena.
So let me ask you something. Like in English, do you really understand all the poetics of that song about about that they're
translated it into English and it made it sound like a nice fun day in the park.
Exactly.
So, right. No, it's about the Air Force, the German Air Force, wasn't it?
Yeah, or about the war in January.
Yeah,
about misreading the signs.
Yeah.
Well, the video gave it away because I think it had, bombs exploding. So, I love that song. I was obsessed with
early
that
days
song.
of MTV.
Yeah, so that said, well, what I was going to say, because Cindy, you asked if, about the fame and this and that, like now I don't know if you know, because now that Moderna has a vaccine, I don't know if in the US they even told you that about 2 weeks before BioNTech had a vaccine, which is a German company, and they went together with Pfizer, and they were, they have the first vaccine, and then 2 weeks later Moderna came in. But anyway, so BioNTech, this German company, had to go to Pfizer because in Germany there is no knowledge really of mass distribution and of mass marketing and mass sales. And I have the feeling, Henning, I don't know if I'm right, that in the music business it may be the same thing. The product is there, but then the sales knowledge is not like in the US.
Yeah, that's definitely a point.
Yeah.
But I don't really care because I don't want the whole world to know me. It's not so important. It's good enough that there are a few people that know me, come to my shows, and I can make a living out of it. I don't want to be Madonna. I don't want to be Elvis Presley. I mean, actually, he was a very unlucky man who died fat with 42 years. And so that's not what I'm planning to do. Even it's too late anyway.
Yeah, exactly. You survived that already.
I hope not.
I think that's a good thing. I think that's a good thing because it means, you care more about the craft, and that's how it should be.
Yeah.
But I have been meditating. I have been meditating how to get Henning's music to the US, and I was thinking to connect him to the director of MoMA. And just as I was in the process, he left for California and to a different, to direct MoCA in LA. And now there is a different director at MoMA and all that. So, but I feel like, this kind of specialty audience, like at MoMA or at some museums, would be very cool if they would bring Henning over. And and if he had a gig there, that would be pretty awesome.
I think you'd be a hit in America.
Exactly.
In certain circles.
They would love you here in Eugene, Oregon.
Poets would love you.
Yeah, they would.
Poets would definitely.
Yes.
Hey, if you have any ideas, put something together, or if you know anybody who does music or who has a music club or something, I'm sure Henning is happy to send a CD. And because I feel the same way.
We're planning your world tour, Henning.
What?
We're planning your world tour.
Yeah.
No, because
I don't mind. I would appreciate it.
Do you know about the Zebra Poetry Film Festival? It's in Berlin.
I don't know anything about it.
It's at the Babylon Theater. That's where they have it every year. It just finished, and I make videos too, and I had a video in the festival. It's every 2 years, and you can say your videos are not just music videos, but poetry videos, and you can submit them. There's no charge, and it's a really good way to get your work in front of a very big audience, a very, very big audience. So I can send the information to Gabriella. and she can share it with you. Yeah,
That would be terrific.
Yeah, I would like to.
There's a bunch of poetry video film festivals around the world. They're in Greece, they're in America, they're in Canada, and they have very, like we were talking about, the specific audience that will love your work. Those are the people that go to these things. They're very loyal. And it's a good audience to get your work in front of. So just a tip.
I know someone in Italy who would love your work, Erica Danino.
Okay, please send me, Cindy, send me the contact, and I'll forward it to Henning, or Henning, if you want to put your email into the chat, or however you wanna do it.
Okay.
But I don't know offhand. I thought Bob Holman, maybe, right, Bob?
Possibly, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, he used to run the Bowery Club, but that's gone, isn't it?
The Bowery Club is gone. The poetry, the Bowery Poetry, I think is still there, but it's too small.
Here's another one.
I mean, CBGB's is gone. Everything is gone. That would be great, Henning. CBGB's, of course, because the Ramones started there, right?
Yeah, I know.
I used to hang out with Blondie there. I used to hang out with Blondie,
the Talking Heads, Patti Smith, everyone. But I knew the photographer of the Ramones and the B-52s and all of these bands. He was living in Cologne, where I was living there. His name is George Dubose. I don't know if you know him. And he was taking all the cover pictures of all these important records. And he asked me if I would like to play in the CBGBs when it was still open, there. Like 12 years ago, I don't know.
Yeah, you would have been my neighbor.
And then I said, do you think they would pay me any money? And he said, no. And I asked him, how many people would you think show up? And he said, I don't know, maybe 5, maybe 50. And I said, hey, come on, I don't want to do it. I'm not so religious in all, huh?
Vain.
Yeah. Not so vain, and it's not such, for me, not such a holy place, the CBGBs, even though so much happened there, but if I have to pay the flight and stay there somehow and play for 5 people.
Well, if I had known you, you certainly could have crashed it in our loft, which was literally half a minute away.
Really?
Yeah.
You lived there? Around the corner?
Great Joan, on Great Joan Street.
I wouldn't have gone home so drunk all the time if I knew. My God, because I used to stumble home at 4 a.m. after CBGBs.
Stumble in other clubs also.
I would have stumbled into Gabriella's apartment.
Well, you'd have to stumble a lot of stairs, trust me.
Yeah. Too funny.
And through a lot of rats too.
Oh,
rats?
Oh God.
Well, not at our entrance, but in the back entrance for sure.
Rats everywhere and cockroaches.
Well, that luckily, no, I would not have lived there with the roaches. Well, not with the rats either, by the way. But anyway, yeah.
I would rather have roaches than rats, personally. Henning, you've got to write a song about rats, bed bugs, and roaches.
Okay. I promise you.
Oh, yeah.
Special for New York. Special for New York.
Rats or roaches?
Yeah, but I've never been to New York.
Well, after that, you'll write that song. That's why I'm dying that you go there, because I want to see those rat songs and the cockroaches songs.
You have to come to New York. You have to play here.
Yeah,
we would love it. We would.
Yeah,
your work.
I would like to, but it's hard with German lyrics. Nobody understands that.
Well, we made a start today.
You put up, the subtitles, but I think it translates, even if no one knows what you're saying, I think it's still,
Yeah.
resonate.
I
Because
agree
it's so
with Cindy. I don't
innovative.
think you need to worry about that too much. In fact, this is a thing that Germans have a huge anxiety about. Nobody understands German. That is not true. That is not true. And with music, you can transcend those problems. We have people from all over the world who play there and play here, and they speak they sing in their native language, and people just accept it. That is one thing we are used to, is many different languages, and not, like, it doesn't always have to be translated. In fact, I think, what did they say? Robert Frost said, poetry is what's lost in translation. Maybe you shouldn't translate it. Maybe you should keep it pure. Put some responsibility on the audience for a change. And they'll be like, oh, it was so cool. It was in German, but I understood it, even if they didn't. So
I would understand a little of it because I do know Yiddish. So verstehst, but you say it verstehst. Ich sprechen Sie Deutsch, because I taught myself a little bit of it for a while until I got up to Auf Wiedersehen and I couldn't spell it. So it's a difficult language, and now I'm learning Russian, which is even worse.
Well, I'm glad to hear that I think you all feel that that it does translate, because that was the idea, and we wanted to see also if it does translate, does not translate. So that's great to hear. Mm-hmm.
Well, you had the right audience for your type of work.
Mm-hmm.
I know Bob and Kit and I, are surrealists in our own way, and we like the absurd. We like that stuff. And Eric obviously does too. So.
Oh yeah.
So this was your American debut.
Yeah.
Henning, in the Corona year on Zoom. Your American.
It is still my American debut. Debut.
That's how we say it. But of course it's French, so we're saying it wrong. We're all saying it wrong, so who cares?
Okay.
I really enjoyed being introduced to your work, and now I know where to get it on YouTube. So I'm very appreciative. And Gabriella, I just love that you bring voices and talents of people I would not find otherwise. And I just really love it. So I'm going to wish everybody a great day of gratitude, and I've got to sign off now. But Henning, I loved your work.
Thank you very much.
You've got somebody in Walnut Creek, California, who's going to follow you.
All right.
Thank you, Kit.
Bye bye.
See you next week.
Have a good Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
Have a great week. See you. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Have a good Thanksgiving.
All right. So I don't know if nobody has any other question or comments or something, then I would just refer everyone again to the to Henning's website, which of course is easy.
I'm going to be listening to you all afternoon. I'm going to play Dana, and then I'm going to play a whole bunch of your videos.
I'm going to be making desserts for Thanksgiving tomorrow, and I'll definitely be listening to it on full volume.
Thank you.
Yes, it was lovely to meet you too, everyone.
Great hearing you.
Lovely to meet Henning.
Auf Wiedersehen. Say hi to Angela Merkel for me. I love her.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Hello, Angela.
Auf Wiedersehen.